colors for block 2 that I'd like to use are a dark green, a light green, and some light pink just to get a little pop of color in there. But I might decide that the light pink really needs to be the dark green. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out a couple of leaves in the green as well as the pink, and then I'll decide in the end. So here's my pattern. This one needs to be dark green as well as the stem. Then I have the light green over here. And then these are the ones that I have as light pink, but I'm going to go ahead and draw those and trace those out for dark green as well. So I'm using the paper side of my fusible web. Remember that your glue side is here. Wouldn't be able to write on that if you wanted to. And I'm going to rough draw this out and rough cut. I'm using my paper scissors and I'm going to rough cut these pieces out. I like to be able to keep most of the pieces like in their little sections so I can just quickly cut everything out. So there's my pink, here's my dark green. Those are the same. Remember, I was trying to figure out if I liked one or the other. And then here is my light green, and I'm just rough cutting these out. I don't need to get close to those lines yet. Wait until you have it on the fabric. I'm just going to cut a little bit off here. That way I can save as much fabric as possible. I have quite a few dark greens here because I have a little bit of extra leaves just in case I decide I want to go with those. And so I'm going to place them here and try and use as much fabric as I possibly can. So let's see, let's put you there. And then, oh, maybe I do want you there. Okay. And then this guy right here. Okay. And so that lets me have all of, oh wait, and then I need a stem. So here's my stem. So I'll put my stem up there. Okay, perfect. So that's my dark green. And then, like I said, I was trying to play with whether or not I'd want some color in this, and I don't know yet. So I was going to go ahead and do the dark green as well as the pink and then decide. Okay, and then I have my light green here. And I want to make sure that I'm not going to get any stuff on my mat here. And then I like to press first. So I'm pressing just down, and then I can move the iron around a little bit once I've pressed down and make sure things aren't moving in place. Don't want to iron too much, but you want to definitely know you're getting it stuff down. If you iron too much, it could just dissolve the glue, and then you won't have any glue left on your project, on your material. All right, there we go. And then I'm going to let this cool for just a minute because I don't want to start cutting and it be hot, because then the glue can shift. So I'm going to let this cool for a minute and we'll cut them out. So I can use my paper scissors because they're nice and sharp to cut this out, but I really like using my fabric scissors at this point, just because it gives me a cleaner cut. So I'm going to use my fabric scissors and cut all my pieces out, and then I can fuse them to my fabric. All right, it's time to iron our pieces onto our pre-starched 5.5-inch backing fabric. I have saved this piece to show you that this is what it looks like when you pull your backing off. This part of the back of the fabric should be shiny. If it's not shiny, you haven't fused your fusible to your fabric enough. So go back and re-iron, it'll be fine. Okay, so I have pulled off all of my pieces of paper, and now it's time to lay it down on my big square. Okay, the first blocks 2 through 4 have a stem that is coming out the center and going up, and it's going to go up the whole front of the quilt. If this bothers you and you're scared you're not going to be able to get this stem to match with the next one and you think that's going to bother you, think about that now. And so you can simply remove that stem altogether. You could make it smaller. You could think about how trying to line something up all the way up the top is going to bother you or make you stress. Don't let it. Just take care of it and get it out of there. I do have my previous piece here. I'll move that up a little bit so you can see. And this is how it's going to look. It's going to look like that's coming right out of the vase lid. And so that's how it's designed and how it's supposed to look right there. This can go right there on the edge, but let's make sure that we're lining everything up correctly. I do want my stem in there. And so I am going to begin by folding this in half just like I did the previous one so that I knew I was getting everything in half. I'm not going to press it or anything. I just want to know where my half is. And then I open it up. If I'm nervous about where my half is, I can stick a pin there. So I'm going to stick a pin right here at the top and the bottom, just so that I can see that that's my center and everything can line up on top of that. So for example, this is going to line up right there in the center. And then when we do block 3, I'll make sure that I line that block up so that I can get this guy smack dab in the center. And I'm going to bring this guy in. And if I want to make sure that I'm halved, I can certainly do a little bit like that. Just pinch him right there in place, and that way, look at that, he's coming right in there. Perfect. Okay, this is the block that I'm not quite sure whether I want to use the pink ones or the green ones. I wanted to see how it would look. I don't know whether I want it brighter or I want it darker. And so the first thing I want to lay down are my big green leaves. Right there. I mean, my big light green leaves. Sorry about that. Light green leaves. And then my little green leaves are going to go up like that. Okay. So here's where I can either do pink, like that, or I can do green. And I just haven't decided whether or not, and I still can't decide whether or not I really want the green color or the pink color to be in here. I think I want to switch. Oh, I think I need to switch these two. So if I go there and I go there. And you can do this however you want. It's folk art. Just have fun and play with pieces. Oh, look, now I'm mixing in all sorts of greens. All right. Maybe if I do it that way, I'll like it better. Okay, so I've set out the green and the pink the way I think I would want that pictured. Now I'm going to switch out those pink with the green, and then I'm going to make a decision and I'm going to go for it. All right, I have decided I am going with the green instead of the pink. I kind of like how it just has that uniform look going up that center. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about the petals being stuck in there. So I'm trying to make sure everything is as symmetrical as possible. The other thing with this block is I want to make sure that I have 1/4 of an inch on the sides and on the top with my leaves. This I want to get covered into my seam allowance, and this I want to get covered into my seam allowance. But I don't want my leaves in my seam allowance. And so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double check that this is as center as I can possibly get it. And then I'm going to bring in my iron. This is crucial that you just sort of press lightly before you start moving that iron around, because now even if you breathe, those pieces can move places. And I'm going to move my pins out of the way so I can really get in there. All right, now that I have ironed this down, I'm going to let it cool and we will stitch it down. So I have my Microtex needle in my machine. I've put on my light green thread and I'm going to start with my light green leaves. I usually like to start with the smallest stuff first. That way I get all that stuff out of the way first. But if this is your first time appliquing, then you might want to start with the stem or the bigger parts because then you get this opportunity to get warmed up. I like to get that tight stuff done quick so that, or done first, but while I'm nice and fresh. Okay, so the first thing I've done is just made sure that when my needle comes down, it's going to be on the outside, just on the edge of my leaf. I like to use that blanket stitch, so I go forward, forward, back, over, over, forward, back, forward, over, over. And so that's how my stitch goes. So I want to make sure I'm in the right place. The other thing I do is I stitch a few times in the same place. And then I get started. And so I've already knocked my stitch down. I know exactly what I'm doing, stitch length and everything. All right, now I'm going to change to my darker color green and I'll do all the green. Going on up here, I had to rethread the needle, and then I went out of the lines right there. But believe it or not, none of that stuff is going to show up in the final product. So have patience and grace with yourself. See, like a little bit there, I went a little out. Just enjoy it and then don't worry about any of the little stuff. If it's super, super bad, then later on you can take it out. Right now, just get it appliqued down. I love the green. I'm glad I stuck with the green and didn't go with the pink. But I am also glad that I did try it because I might have liked it better. Anyway, I absolutely love the green, but I am ready to move on to some color. So that's what's next in block 3. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and if you'd like the kit, make sure you check out our website right here and get that kit so that you don't even have to do any cutting or anything is already done for you and you can just start sewing. And we will see you in the next video, block number 3. Bye, everyone.